Hello friend, my name is Doombabe and today we're going to be talking about Bliss. I actually want to thank Mark for gifting this to me on Steam and also making me realize that my Steam wishlist is not private like I thought it was. Anyways, he's a super cool dude that talks about magic, writes about magic, and pretty much eats, lives, and breathes magic. So I'm going to put his Twitter in the description and you can go check him out. Bliss is a 2D indie platformer created by Oruji Productions that was released on Steam December of last year. You play as a shadow that is trapped in a world forged through the memories of another person, and in that world there are 5 areas that represent the 5 stages of grief as well as the 5 stages of this person's life. It's actually a surprisingly dark game that tells a story of depression and grief entirely through visual clues and symbolism, meaning there's no writing for me to comment on, so it gets off scot-free there. This is a very gentle and relaxed platformer with smooth gameplay, and there are only 4 movements to Bliss: back, jump, forward, and boomerang. But space isn't jump. Space isn't jump. It's W. What? It goes against everything I know about PC gaming. Now, on a serious note, it did confuse the crap out of me at first, but after about an hour, I got used to the ass backwards keybinds. But as you play, you come across puzzles that usually involve these little black creatures that I only assume symbolize the obstacles you need to conquer to move on in life. While the game will tell you what key to push if it introduces a new feature, there's little to no hand-holding in this game. So there's also no initial walkthrough, meaning that it throws you straight into the fray. And because of this, the puzzles can be pretty difficult right off of the bat, and they vary from simple to slamming your fist on the desk as you fall into the water for the 15th time, swearing. Thankfully though, the game has an abundance of save and checkpoints, and the checkpoints are conveniently placed before every puzzle that could possibly be challenging. That way you don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. In case you do find yourself becoming more and more infuriated with your repeated failures, there is always the OST to calm you down. This game has a very soothing soundtrack that can alternate between a neutral calm to a hauntingly sad song. It made me feel. In terms of replay value, I definitely see myself going back and playing this a few more times. The story is shown entirely through visuals, which is something that can be very difficult to do. Not so much because the developers don't know how to tell a story without words, but because it is challenging to do it in a way where everyone can pick up on it. So the fact that the developers did such a good job on that alone was enough to leave me impressed. But the diversity of each level threw me off in a sense where I wasn't expecting it, and it was amazing. With each level being a different stage in this person's life, it's almost as if the artist is giving you a physical representation of what it means to be a child or to be suffering from depression. The amount of care and attention to detail that went into making this game and just making the levels is something very rare these days, and I am so glad that I stumbled across this game on Steam. This is a splendid game. I had a ton of fun playing it despite the frustration I would feel from repeatedly failing a couple puzzles or not being able to get past a few bosses. The soundtrack is beautiful, the world is gorgeous, and the gameplay is incredibly fun. Albeit maybe it got a little repetitive here and there just because, you know, it's a side-scroller platformer. You know, they all play the same, but that wasn't enough for me to detract points off of it. Anyways, it's about $8 on Steam for about 6 to 7 hours of gameplay that gives you all sorts of feels, and I highly recommend for you to go on Steam, buy it, play it, and tell me what you think, because I like it that much. So, you know, TLDR, it's a very fun game. I really loved it. You're gonna love it, and that's all I have to say about Bliss. Happy unbirthday, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! You're collecting white flowers, you're collecting coins, you're collecting lore objects, you're collecting objects for missions so you can collect red flowers because for some reason Trader needs you to get him a bunch of red flowers, and they don't explain why. I started out the game obsessively collecting